It looks like our recording has started. So, hi everyone. This is Wilson Ramcharan with Groupe Imo Solutions, real estate broker, residential and commercial. Today, I am super excited to have with us the none other but the spectacular Lori Labbiento, uh, home stager extraordinaire. Is that an appropriate title for you, Lori?
That's very appreciative. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm very passionate about what you do for our clients, Lori, and especially over the last little while that we've been working, we've sent you multiple clients to have a conversation, a consultation about how they can prepare their homes for sale and really to maximize their opportunity of being able to sell for the highest price in the shortest amount of time. And I've heard nothing but wonderful things about the work you've done and continue to do for our clients. So I felt like I owed it to all of our other clients who might be thinking of putting their homes on the market and might be a little bit apprehensive about the process. And especially for our team, we are very strong proponents of home staging, as you already know, and getting the property ready to the to the nines, like optimally. And so some people have concerns, some people have fears about, oh my gosh, what does this all entail? So I'm super excited to have you today to shed some light on what is exactly home staging. We're going to talk about some of the misconceptions. People think home staging means, oh my gosh, I got to rent a bunch of furniture and bring it into the house. But before we jump into the content, and you can see I'm pretty excited already, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind? I mean, how long have you been in this field? What perhaps led you into it? And any other tidbits of information you'd like us to know about you as a person, that's fine too. So welcome to today's
Thank
presentation,
you.
and thank you for making the time to do this. I know that you have a very busy schedule, and I'm sure our clients are going to be super grateful for the time that you're investing with us and our team today to share with them your ideas. So tell us a little bit about yourself before we
Well,
get
thank
going.
you. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you so much for the introduction. What a great introduction. And I have to say, the best part of working with your team is it's very hard for customers to hear about, they're going to be selling their home, to hear about home staging, and some of them feel apprehensive. So you and your team just do a great job. I walk in and they're already smiling because they know exactly what to expect. So it's really nice. I'm usually the bad guy walking in because they
Yeah.
don't know what to expect with home staging. So thank you to you and your team for always and just great sellers I've been dealing with your team.
Yeah, well, we appreciate that. And as you said, for our team, we have a very high regard for the work you do because we know that when our clients receive the right information so that they can present their home the right way,
Yeah.
it allows the entire process to flow much more smoothly, and it is so beneficial to them. So
Great.
that's been amazing so far, and we're grateful to have you as part of our extended family and extended team.
Thank you, Wilson. Thank you to
We
you and your
yeah, we
team.
count on that. But tell us a bit about yourself. What got you into this whole home staging game? Maybe it was perhaps you were an interior decorator. Maybe you can share some of that if you'd like, and then we can kind of jump into the content about what is home staging when you're
Yeah.
ready.
So I fell into home staging. I have a design background from
Okay.
fashion design to housewares. I'm a creative. I do all the developing for a houseware company. So
Hey.
anything having to do with decor and design and color has just been my passion. There was
Wow.
always interior design and architecture. So I've always kind of wet my feet in all these types of different creative jobs.
Right.
And 7 years ago, one of some of my good friends that are either brokers or were selling their houses would always call me in to help them out with
Right.
oh, how should I put my best foot forward and what should I do? And you're in design, you understand
Right.
paints, and I would always be the one choosing paint colors. And so I started and really had fun with it. To me, a product is a product, and I love marketing the home. So I
Right.
look at it as that I'm helping you market your product to put up to sell. And so yeah, I fell into it and just fell in love with it. So it's about 7 years that I'm home staging. I do a little bit of interior design, but yes, does keep me very busy, especially the home staging, the larger where you are renting furniture, you are starting 6 months, 12 months out.
Right.
So yeah, that's been what I've been doing for the past 7 years in home staging.
Amazing, amazing. Now, you have a company. It's called LSquared Design. That's
That's
correct.
right. That's
So,
right.
and again, today our focus will be on the home staging. But if somebody would like some to learn more about LSquared Design and your company and what other services you provide, would you like to maybe mention a couple of sentences on that?
Absolutely. So yeah, LSquared Design started again. It's an umbrella of just different creative avenues from exactly that into home staging, interior design, product development. I also help companies bring a product packaging and just all the
Hmm.
different creative, but mostly interior design and home staging.
Fantastic. So what I'm going to do is we're going to jump into the amazing content that you prepared for us. So you sent me a bunch of slides, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is going to be amazing." So we're going to have you, provide and share your take on the slides. The slides are for information purposes, of course, but we really are eager and curious about your, personal perspective on the information we're going to share. So I'm just going to start sharing the screen here where your slides are. Obviously, we want to make sure that everybody has your contact information. So if you can see it on the screen right now, we have LSquared Design, we have your name, phone number, email address, and your Instagram handle if anybody would like to follow you. So that's fantastic. Let's jump right into it and start talking about why home stage your home. What the heck? What's the benefit here? Why are we even having this conversation? So please dive in.
So the easiest and the quickest way I can say is exactly that. You're going to be selling your home, and you want to put your best foot forward and make sure that the pictures look great online, and
Yes.
when people come and visit. So you want to stage your home because we're all used to having our stuff around, and some of us like having more stuff around. I come in as a home stager. I look at it to say, okay, how is a buyer going to come in here and look at a clean slate? So I'm not
Right.
talking about removing all your items, but just taking some items out, decluttering, just making your house look great to be put on the market. So that's one of the big reasons why we want a home stage. We want to make sure that the house is prepared for
Right.
pictures and then for the visits.
Of course, of course. You talk about getting people to be more emotionally connected with the home. So that would
Yes.
be the individuals, the buyers, the people who we want to attract into the home. So if I were to take a couple of steps before you jump into that and remind our clients, such a big part of the success in the selling process is preparation, is
That's right.
taking care of these, let's call it aesthetic details in advance. But then people don't always necessarily understand, well, what does that mean, right? So in this particular case, we're talking about helping the buyers emotionally connect and having, let's say, an inviting style in the property and just presenting it. So we're talking
Right.
about the primary rooms, as you outlined
Yeah.
here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I always
So
like focusing on those rooms. Those are the ones I always say to everybody as soon as they step into your home. So from the entrance, whatever we see in those first 3 minutes of walking into the room. So wherever your eye goes to, which is usually the entrance, and you're going into the living room, kitchen, dining room. So I like putting my focus on that and then going into the primary bedroom.
okay, amazing. So I want to see your face a little bit more. So I'm going to stop sharing, and the slides are still there, but we're going to go back to them in a moment. We talk about increased perceived value as well when the buyer is coming through because the attention to detail has been made, right? So talk a bit to that, if you don't mind, about what the benefit of home staging brings to that element in terms of the value.
Yeah, so in terms of value, what I like looking at, when you say about preparing before, that's another big thing is making sure that the walls are painted if they need to be painted. Bring a neutral slate to the house. Also, spacing. Sometimes there's a
Mhm.
lot of furniture around. So the perceived value is where we're removing some of the furniture or we're switching some of the furniture around, which is
Right,
helping you really see the space in the home. I get into situations where there's 4 different couches.
right.
So we'll streamline and see which couch can stay. And at that point, I have to say, sometimes they tell me like, oh, I don't even want to sell my house anymore. Where did you get all this space? Because we just
Right.
get used to living in our homes every day, right? So
We
I
do.
just go in with a clear eye and just move stuff around. So from space to just the little, the doors that don't open properly or whatever it is, I'll catch on to that stuff, and that's
Right.
where we get it fixed before the house goes onto the market.
Absolutely. And I'm reading here on your slide, you mentioned very specifically here that home staging is not just an expense, but a very strategic move to maximize the value of the property when you sell it.
That's right. That's
Yeah, I
right.
love that. Now, we all know that you and I being in the field, that when we say the word home staging, people have different ideas about that, what that
Yes.
means to them and what it means in general. So I'm going to start sharing the slides again, but there are some, let's call them misconceptions
Yeah.
that are out there that I believe is worth having a conversation about. So the slides back up there, and number one, as you mentioned, staging is not interior design. You want to expand a little bit on what your thoughts are on that?
Exactly. So, when I walk into a house, I'll tell them I'm not insulting the design that's there, and I'm
Right.
not going to bring in my ideas of design. We want to make it as neutral as possible. We want to make sure that the buyers can get to see a clean slate, and
Right.
we're not going to start introducing new colors and new artwork. Whatever we introduce, like I said, it needs to be streamlined and neutral. So everyone thinks that I'm going to come in and start telling them, well, we're going to take this wall down and we're going to do this. So with home staging, there's stuff to do, but not to the point of an interior design walking in and
Right.
really sitting with you and understanding, well, I like red or I like blue. So there's not really much of that. It's just walking in, I'm decluttering, I'm helping you declutter, helping you move some furniture around or removing furniture, renting furniture, and just making sure that we're putting your best foot forward.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, of course. And as you're saying as well, that some of the other misconception is that it's not just about, the installation day, right?
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Elaborate on that for us, please.
Yes. So I love your team. You always prepare your sellers beforehand. So it's a
We do.
process. It's a process that it's very stressful selling your home. And sometimes people start thinking they're like, well, how am I going to even start packing? Well, how do I know what I'm going to bring or what the new house is going to look like or they're moving away somewhere. So that's where I say that it's more than installation day. It's more than just that day and getting everything done.
Right.
um, a big thing that I like is that timeline. So going in for a consultation and then helping them out up until they have to put their house up on the market.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So it's a much more holistic approach,
Yes,
because I'm sure I've seen this happen already in the process of getting a property ready for sale, following the home staging consult that you've done for our clients. Some of them realize, hey, you know what? This is an opportunity to get rid of stuff that might have been lingering in
exactly.
the house for 20 years.
Exactly. And I help them understand. And, we have that conversation and I don't walk in and like, you need to get rid of, we have a whole conversation about certain pieces and how to organize, how to declutter, what,
Right.
what holds special to you. Let's start packing that. What do you not want to bring to the next house? Let's start looking at that. So we go through that. And then Wilson, I love having that relationship with them because again, I know it's a very stressful time for some people. So I'll always tell them I'm available all the time. They can text me, they'll send me pictures. I just cleared this closet up, or I just cleared my kitchen counters up. How does it look? And I'll send
Yeah.
a hooray, you did it. But just that process, that's why I like, I'm not coming in on installation day and rearranging your life and walking out. So
Right.
that's where I like that it's a whole approach to making it as comfortable as possible for the sellers.
Definitely, definitely. And selling a home in general is so stressful already as it is. I believe there's a benefit to having a team like we form a team that goes in and can hold their hands and show them the right way. It takes away a lot of the guesswork. So that's been
Exactly.
been, been amazing so far. Now, in our team, we home stage all types of properties, whether
Yes.
they're, let's call it entry level, first homes, all the way to higher end properties. But I think that out there's this preconceived notion, a misconception that home staging is only valuable for the high end properties. I don't believe you agree with that, right? Because we
No,
both,
I do not agree with
yeah,
actually the smaller to mid range homes are the ones that have been the most successful.
Yes.
And that's what I like, especially on social media, because there is a misconception about it. And a lot of people, when they meet me, and I'll tell them that I homestage, and they're like, "Oh, you must see the most beautiful $1 million." And I'm like, "No, it's not only the $5-6 million homes. Actually, those are the ones that it costs more. They already have a lot of stuff in there that's harder to remove, and so the mid range to, as I said, it's not the impact, especially the
Yes.
condos. Some people are like,
Yes.
I just have a condo. I don't need it home staged. And I'll walk in, and in 2 hours, we're rearranging furniture. We're, just getting stuff done, and the condo looks twice its size.
Exactly.
So yeah, a misconception that I'm trying to slowly but surely get rid of. And I see that it's
Right.
getting, especially with the support of brokers like
I
your.
agree. I think even a lot of real estate brokers have that misconception that, oh,
Yes,
I'm not going to do, drone footage, and I'm not going to do
that's right.
virtual tours because it's only a $300,000 or $400,000 condo.
That's right. That's right.
I think oppositely. I believe that every property deserves the best marketing plan and the best
Exactly.
opportunity to sell at its potential. So we don't hold back on that. So I love the
Exactly.
fact that you're on board with us on that. And
Yes.
one of the things that you mentioned here as well as home staging is about making a property look pretty.
Yes.
Yeah, that's definitely a misconception. How else can we look at this to really truly understand the value of home staging?
Yes, exactly that. You're not making the property look pretty. You're marketing the product and accentuating its strengths and making sure, like,
Right.
the curb appeal to the large kitchen where you can have many people in there. And, just putting some pretty little items is not going to make that's not what the end outcome has to be. It really has to be that we have to market and put the house I keep saying it's best foot forward, but that's exactly it. It's not about putting a couple of flowers and a couple of fruits in a bowl, but really
Right.
taking a look at, the bones of the home, and how, when that buyer is walking in, what are they going to be seeing, and how is the
Right.
flow of the home
Right, and the
working,
functionality of the
and the
rooms, if it's too
functionality.
cluttered, we're
Exactly.
not gonna be able to appreciate it. I'd
Exactly.
like to think that sometimes in the process of home staging, I've seen you guys and gals who are doing the home staging, turn maybe one of the bedrooms into an office, which a lot of
That's
people
right.
are doing since the pandemic and since people are more and more often working from home. So they
That's,
get to see that different perspective
that's
based
right.
on the fact that we can have two bedrooms staged with regular bedroom furniture, but that
That's right.
third one can look like an office and show people what the potential is. Now,
Exactly.
the last misconception here, I'm such a firm believer that it is a horrible one in the sense that my experience has been in the field, and it's been now over 10 years. It's my 11th year that I'm completing. I have had the experience that the majority of buyers just don't have the imagination
Yeah.
necessary to see the potential of a property. So when the rooms are empty, they just don't get it. They don't know what to do with that. So has that been your experience as well?
100%. 100%. And that's what sometimes I'll go and see somebody where the house is empty, and I'll walk away, and we have our discussion, and I said, listen, either you hire me or you don't hire me. You need
Right.
to do something. You need to stage something. Either it's the kitchen, a dining room. It's a message that you're sending through. They're walking in, the buyers are walking in, they're questioning, why is the house empty? I can get a deal. They've moved out. They need to sell the house. Something is wrong. So I get that message. I'll also get the message that my bed's not going to fit in here. I have 3 kids. I don't think this
Right.
bedroom is going to, or I need to have a home office. That's too much of a small office. So you're not showing them what the, or the open concept. That's a big one. When the houses have that
Right.
whole living room, dining room, and kitchen area all open, they can't see like what the divisions are, how they would be able to use that floor space. And I've seen many, many homes either drop in price, or have a
Right.
hard time selling. So I'm a big believer in not leaving a house empty.
I'm the same. You know what my experience has been is that when the house is completely empty, we get to see the imperfections a lot more
A hundred
clearly. You
percent.
walk through the home and
Yes.
you can see the floors are a little crooked, and
Yes.
sometimes there's some other issues.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Right. All right. So, just wanted to to add one here that I don't see, a misconception that I hear a lot, if you don't mind. So I'm throwing this at you as a little bit of a surprise. I hear a lot of people say, hey, you know what? Home staging is all about renting furniture and having to get rid of my stuff and
Yeah.
putting some other bunch of things that, are not me or doesn't represent the way I am in terms of my personality. I've heard that one a lot too when people
Absolutely.
hear about home staging. Would you like to speak to that
Yeah,
one?
absolutely. That's another good one. I'm going to add that one to my list of misconceptions. That's actually a popular one. You're
Good.
right. Yeah, they think I'm going to come with a moving truck and bring a bunch of furniture that you have to
Yeah.
rent for. Usually, it's on a monthly basis. Absolutely not. What I like doing in the staging consoles, I say absolutely not. It's not. It's not 80% of the time we can work with what you have,
Yes.
removing some of what you have or changing up. I will change stuff from a living room, I'll bring it into a dining room, or I'll tell them I'm going to shop your house and they'll allow me to walk all over the house and I'll find stuff in their garage or I'll find stuff in the basement that we can work
Right.
with, and just moving stuff and having stuff that you already have in your home, we can work with that. And the other step is I can just bring in the small accessories, just those tweaks.
Right.
The lamps, lighting is very, very important in home staging,
Yes.
especially when you're visiting homes at night. So that's something that I like bringing into homes is maybe a lamp or a plant, some decor, a tray on a coffee table. So those are the little tweaks that I like bringing in. But most of the time, we work with what you have. That's why the staging consults are so great.
Yeah,
You're
they are.
walking out and the seller's so happy because like you just worked with whatever was in my home, or I'll give them a little list of stuff they can pick up at, I don't know, the dollar store. They can pick up at IKEA, and we'll just figure out a little focal point, on top of their fireplace, whatever it is. But most of the time, you don't have to start renting furniture. It is a must, as we just spoke about before. If your home is empty, then we can have that discussion and look at what the budget is, and definitely can rent furniture. But
So,
it's not the end
yeah.
all.
For sure, for sure. So far, what I'm excited about is we've talked quite a bit about what it is, this home staging, what the benefits are, what some of the misconceptions are. So I'm sure if we have a client who's thinking of selling, they're now thinking, okay, where do I start? Because as you mentioned before, when we make a connection with you and one of our clients who's thinking of selling, we actually prepare them quite a lot for the consultation by encouraging them to start doing what you're going to talk about right now, which is to start decluttering, start basically getting rid of stuff, right? So I
Yes.
believe this is the first place that people need to start. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah.
So
So
I'm
if
sharing that slide for you now. Yeah.
Yeah. So I love the quote that I like putting. The easiest way to organize your stuff is to get rid of most of it and
Yeah.
take that opportunity. If you're planning to move, if your plan is Wilson is on your list to call, and we're gonna think of moving soon. That's the first thing. If you can start thinking of decluttering, there are people that tell me, but I've decluttered, and just take a look at what do you want to continue with, what do you want to bring on to the new
Mhm.
place. So start from there, and
Right.
making sure that all that stuff is done before your move,
Right.
because
And
going to
go
look at
ahead.
that right before the home stager comes in or right before Wilson comes in to take pictures, that's where the panic mode starts. So if we could start, if there's a little bit of a schedule in your head where, oh, I'm going to put up the house in the summer, I'm going to put up the house in the fall, start 6 months before and get a plan. The family can get into the plan too, and everyone can declutter a certain space and see what
Right.
you want to already start getting rid of.
Amazing. And I love it. And you know what? One of the things that I'm just going to put out there for our clients who might be looking at this and thinking, hey, you know what? This sounds amazing, but I'm not going to be ready for maybe a year, because we do have a lot of clients who it
Absolutely.
does take a little bit longer for them to process the decision and actually come to a conclusion and actually pull the trigger. One of the things that I'd like to put out there, and I didn't consult with the team or anything on this one, but I'm putting it out there because I believe so much in this process, is you can reach out to our team and let us know 6 months, a year in advance that you might be thinking about selling.
Yes.
And what we'll do is we will work with Lori and have her come see you and at least help you start putting your basically your foot on the right path.
That's right.
I'm gonna share a slide that you have, the next one coming up. You have a good list how to really get this process started. And like I said, I just wanted to put it out there that even if it's a year down the road, we want to invite our clients to be able to give themselves that opportunity to
That's
do
a
it the
great
right way,
opportunity. Yes.
without the stress on their shoulders that, oh, not because I called Wilson or Lori and now I got to absolutely put my house on the market. In fact, as you mentioned earlier in this conversation, and I've seen it so often, once they actually have the opportunity to meet with you for the home staging consultation, oftentimes after they've implemented some of the strategies you share, they figure, oh my gosh, this is like a brand new house to me, and I
That's
love it.
right.
And we've had clients come this close to changing their minds, from selling, and that's okay if they had, but many of them do. So I'm going to share that list
Absolutely.
that you have, and I figured this list came after many years of, you know, taking care of your clients, servicing your clients. You said it's been 7 years, so this is the good list. Now let's talk
Yeah,
about it.
so this is my main focus all the time. So again, I'm
Right.
sorry we keep bringing up declutter, but it's a big one for a home, right? And
It is.
especially
It is.
as you said, the pandemic was a big one. With I mean, look, I have my special book here, the ultimate guide to clearing your clutter after the pandemic, because a lot of people kept a lot of stuff, and there was that
Right.
whole mindset of keeping things in your home. So yeah, decluttering your home is
Mm,
my first one on the list. The second one, which
right.
takes a lot of time, and I know stresses people, but it's what you said before about imperfections. There's little things that we can do, from painting, painting your baseboards, or getting your windows washed in the spring, or getting, the automatic garage door opener fixed because it's been broken for 5 years. Little things like that. That's where it might, the repairs, leaky faucets, and exactly that, like just certain things. And outside has six lights and two bulbs have been burnt, and
For
either the wife
years. They've
or
been
husband
good
will
for
tell me
years.
exactly. We needed you to come in to get that light bulb change, right? Like that's what we
Right.
always
Right.
laugh about. The house is perfection right before you're going to move, and another reason why you get all this stuff fixed. So that's
Right.
another big one on my list is declutter your home, make repairs, and then the deep clean of your home. That's another important one.
Yeah.
It's very tough, right? Especially as the broker has to walk in and have that first meeting, and there is, and depending on the situation, but we need to call it what a deep clean of the home is something that you
Yeah.
can start ahead of time, room by room. But a good fall cleaning, spring cleaning, especially when you're putting your house on the market, is something that I stress.
Yeah,
Um,
I'll comment on that one if you don't mind. I mean, that particular one, when I visit homes with my buyer clients, good
mhm.
opportunity for you to have a sip of water too.
Yes,
When I go to see homes, I tend to be very meticulous in how I show homes and what I'm looking for. In fact, I show up with a flashlight, and because sometimes you go into a basement and, like you were saying, you've
100%.
got a
Yes,
bunch of bulbs that aren't working and it's dark and gloomy and you can't see in the furnace room and you can't see
that's
the
right.
basement space. So for me, I need that flashlight, but also
That's
that flashlight is very revealing. I can see all the cobwebs. I can
exactly.
see all the little moldy darkness that's in between the windows and so
That's
on,
right.
or on the windowsill. So that deep cleaning actually shows the potential buyer that you care about your property, that
And
you've
that's what I was going
maintained it well. Right.
to.
It leaves the buyer, when it's not cleaned properly, with these doubts about, oh gosh, if they're not even taking care of the basic
That's
stuff that
right.
I can see today, they probably didn't take care of the big stuff either. And
That's
if
right.
you did do that deep cleaning and made that extra special effort, then the buyer now feels reassured. Oh gosh, these people
Exactly.
take very good care of their home. Look how pristine it is. This is the house I need to buy, not the one down the street that doesn't look or feel as clean.
That's
Right.
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 That's right.
Love it.
No,
Yeah.
it's a big feature.
Yeah.
It's a big feature that is very important for
Yeah.
buyers.
Yeah. Your next one, I really like that one. You talk about going neutral. Is
Yes.
that also the same as depersonalizing? Can that be
Yes.
along the same
100.
line?
Exactly. And the other thing that we've gone through many trends of paint colors, from,
Right.
the focal black wall or navy blue wall or red. And so in the end, I understand that, you had your house painted, but if we could start with a neutral palette, that's half the battle. And touching in a clean home, a neutral home, seeing the space, how large your space is. So that's another big one, that if we can start earlier, or even if you don't start earlier, but just put in your mind that maybe, a nice paint job is also going to freshen up the home.
Yeah, and a
So
paint
what
job,
was,
if I can add, yeah, a
yeah,
paint job, if I can add, is probably one of the least expensive ways of
exactly.
allowing your property to pop and to
Yes.
look at its best.
And it just checks off so many points. It looks clean, it looks fresh. You got rid of
Yeah,
all the dents and the nails and everything
yeah.
that was on your walls and the wear and tear of a home. So in a paint job, you can take care of a lot of points there.
Good point. Good point. Now, over decorating, that's
Yes.
a big one. Sometimes we see that often.
Yeah, which brings us to again, it's always the decluttering, but it's over decorating also. So there's 6 frames of artwork on the wall. There's
Right.
the 4 sofas with, I don't know, about 20 throw pillows.
Right.
There's wallpaper. There's carpets. So people kind of look at that. My home is old or my home is dated. Let me decorate. Let me go to Home Sense and just start bringing in new carpets or bringing new curtains. And
Right.
that over decorating happens. And that's when you see like a little bit of a panic has started.
Yeah.
And they're not streamlining it. And again, as we had mentioned before, we're not decorating your home. We're trying to sell your home. We're making it a neutral palette and we want to sell your home. So
Right.
sometimes people feel that that's what they should be doing.
Right. So it's better to keep things simple than to, like you said,
Yeah,
overcomplicate it, and now you create a whole other challenge. So
exactly.
highlighting features, I think, is a wonderful way to really shed the light on what's great about the house. So give me some examples of features that you like to focus on.
So I love we always have a little bit of a situation with fireplaces. If people
Yes.
haven't yet changed into the gas fireplace, that's something that the sellers are not planning to do, but the buyers may or may not want to do. So I will make sure that the fireplace is a focal point. We'll add a mirror, we'll add candles or decor or fake logs in the fireplace and make that a focal point, because that
Right.
becomes now a feature of the home. There's a fireplace already there. I love the making the when your patio doors are going onto a deck in the back. Some people will have furniture in front of it. I love clearing that area and having them either put neutral curtains or having them open up their curtains so we could see, because our summer months are so small that they
For
can
sure.
see that we could have that kitchen, deck, barbecue area. So that's another feature that especially the homes that have just a continuation of their deck. The kitchen. The kitchen to me is, as much as we can organize and get the counter space, and if or they have an island or they don't have an island, but make sure that the kitchen shows well. So highlighting how much workspace you have, how much people love entertaining in a kitchen. So focusing on how your kitchen would show.
Nice. I love it. I love it. And even when it comes to staging, I've also had the experience, and I'd love to hear your comment about it. Sometimes you don't need to do every single room in the house
Absolutely not. Yeah.
staged. It's okay to have one or two empty rooms, or that bedroom in the basement can be empty. That's okay. Or two of the three, or three of the four bedrooms upstairs can be staged, but not necessarily all of them, right? Would you agree that that is
I
not a
agree.
must?
And it goes back to the list that I had previously, is that when I always look at it, when I walk into your home, I'll actually say, just give me a moment because I'm going to see where the eye goes. Where my
Right.
eye goes, that's where I'd like to see staged. When it comes to rooms, it's the primary bedroom is still very important for people to.
Right.
So I
Right.
always say, like, let's get the open areas and the primary bedroom, but not every single stitch of your home has to be staged. We can clean up. I can give you little suggestions about
Right.
putting your best foot forward with it, but it doesn't have to be completely staged. We
Totally
have to be,
understand.
yeah.
Yeah. And one area that is, I believe, often overlooked, especially with
Yes.
us here in Montreal, in Canada, we have all the seasonality. So there are periods of the year, let's say in the fall, where they could have a bunch of, little branches and leaves and stuff all over the place, or
Yeah.
in the spring, just before, you get to that spring cleanup. It may not look as inviting and appealing outside of the property, and it's very important to pay attention to that as well. So for example, we don't like taking pictures when the garbage can or the recycling bin
That's
is
right.
just on the outside. So, reviving the exterior is a big part of what you mentioned there before. So I'll let you, speak to that and share
Yeah.
some thoughts there.
It's the same point of what you said about having the deep cleaning your home. They're
Right.
driving up the house. If the house is not clean or not taken care of, you already
Yeah.
have a preconception of how it's going to look on the inside. So those pretty, and again, even in the fall, right? We don't want to see the garbage cans. We don't want to see leaves thrown everywhere. So a person that keeps it tidy, you're already setting the tone for how much you take care of your house on the inside, also. And then
Agreed.
exactly as I said in my list of stuff is the paint chip outside that's broken or the light fixture that's broken. You want to
Right.
get all that stuff sorted on the outside. We're not going to make the inside, but we have to remember that future buyers are going to be walking up to their home. You
Right.
want to make sure that everything's been taken care of. I'm not talking about an expensive landscaping job. It's
I
just
agree.
basically a little bit of a cleanup, get the garbage cans out. We usually, some people love using underneath the stairs as a storage area. Well, we'll always get, buyers that want to go look under the stairs and they're like, oh, what's that? And right away you see like all that clutter. So that too, it's just those little items that we forget about, but they're looking outside and it's that first, or they're having that conversation with their broker outside. I tell them, I want to make sure that the outside looks great also.
Right. That term curb appeal actually has meaning, right? And
Very
when you arrive
strong.
at the curb,
Yes.
if it's not appealing,
Yes.
the entire visit has already started off on the wrong
Exactly.
foot, and we keep on
Exactly.
talking about putting our best foot forward. So
That's
it's
right.
super
That's
important
right.
to do that. All right.
That's right.
So now we've gotten to the point where I've decided to sell my property. I understand that home staging is an important step, so to speak, in the process, and at least it is for us. I know not every real estate broker agrees with us, and that's okay. We have our let's call it standards, and we uphold them, and we do this for every property, or at least every property that has an owner that understands what we are trying to
Yes.
explain to them. So
Yes.
there's a process now. So when someone now decides I'm ready to sell, what's the process that we need to go through? I'm going to share that screen so we can kind
Yeah.
of do a quick overview of that as well for them.
Yeah. So these are the steps that I usually work with. I also want to make sure that people understand it's not this big project that everyone expects home staging. It's also a small conversation of an hour. It's very personable and it's suggestions. So here I just wanted to make sure that everyone understood the process of how I would work
Right.
with them would be exactly that. We start off with a consultation, be it 6 months, a year, 2 years, 2 days out, whatever it is. So we always start with a consultation. So I'll come
Right.
on site and we'll have a walkthrough of your home and what your needs are and your concerns, and we can go through all of that.
Yeah, if I
After
may add, Lori, for our clients, for our team, we believe so much in the process and in the benefits that for most of our marketing packages that we do offer our clients, the home staging consultation is on us because we think it's that important. So just wanted to make sure people understand that it's not necessarily a cost. If they work with a different broker, I can't speak to that, but with us, that's one investment is what I look at it as that I'm willing to make for our client's sake.
well, it's a great add-on, Wilson, for you and your
Yeah.
team. It's a great add-on for your sellers.
Yeah.
Yes, so then after the consultation, I would send you a proposal. So whatever we discussed, if it's to rent furniture, if it's to choose paint colors, or just a proposal of what the timeline looks like to put your house onto the market. So I'll send
Right.
that to you. And then this is if we go on forward with, again, you need me to come in again before photos. Some people like having me come in right before the photos just to tweak the home a little bit or to bring in some of the furniture. So that's the styling time. That's when we could
Mhm.
really start bringing the style, the as I say all the time, then making it as neutral as possible and bringing items in if needed or working with what you have. So that's my styling day. And I'm also selecting things. I can also go out and buy stuff and get stuff for you if that's needed. And then there's the famous installation day. So that's again, if furniture is being delivered, if we're setting up the home at whatever pace that is. So that's
Right.
the installation staging date. And then the completion is once the broker or the seller calls me and tells me the house is sold and we are now going to remove items. Or sometimes we're not adding items in, so they just call me to tell me, which I always appreciate how quickly their home sold and how great the
Right.
process was. So that's a nice completion.
I love it. I love it. And you know what? I've seen it time and time again. We've had clients who have told us, this home staging mumbo jumbo, I'm going to pass on it. I really don't think it's necessary. People are going to buy my house anyways, as is. And, 3 months later, 4 months later, they're calling me back saying, hey, you know what? The broker who agreed with us and went ahead and listed our property without the staging, well, it's not moving and we need you to come back into the picture. We've canceled our commitment to that person, and now we've brought in the stager, we've painted a few rooms, and within a week we have 6 7 offers, and it's way over the asking price, which is significantly more than even what the other broker had listed at. That's a story I can tell multiple times over and over.
Absolutely.
And as you were saying, it is an investment. It can feel a little bit overwhelming at times to say there's a $2,000 or $3,000 per month investment. However, the bottom line is that 2 months or so that you might end up needing to stage the property. So let's say it costs you $5,000, $6,000. That investment can go fetch you $60,000 because the property
Absolutely.
looked so beautiful.
Yes.
And when the buyers came through, they were able to visualize themselves in it. They were able to appreciate the functionality and the flow, as you were describing before, because all
Exactly.
of that was a thoughtful process that was put into place when choosing the furniture and the decor.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, no, it's been
Yeah.
time and time again, right? The fact of they're not choosing the staging and it's fine and then you'll get the call back and you know exactly what and you're reiterating what should be done and then it's done and the house is showing great. And I was going to mention something else about when we're bringing in furniture. A lot of people tell me, "Oh, I'll get hand-me-downs." So it'll be like a little bit of a puzzle of different items that come into the home. So I
Yes.
have to, and that's another thing is people just say, well, she said there should be a dining room table, but there's a dining room table with 8 different chairs around it. So they're just trying to
Right.
grab stuff too. So I'll get called back in for stuff like that, right? That
Right.
we're not
Right.
just filling space, we're also trying to make it look seamless, right? So
Makes sense. Makes total sense. I'm going to go off script a little bit here with you,
yeah.
and I went to see a potential client earlier this week, and it's a situation where mom is elderly and had to move into a residence because she needed a little bit more hands-on day-to-day care, and so the kids now are in a position where they're overseeing the sale, very similar to what we had done in Laval not too long
Right,
ago.
right.
In this particular case, there's a lot of clutter in the property. I mean, there's a ton of furniture and just stuff, including decor items. Let's say we were to ask you to go into that property as it is right now, because we always like to ask them to declutter to a certain extent
Mhm,
before you go
mhm.
in, which already gets the ball rolling and moving in the right direction. To what extent are you available to provide services to actually declutter and clean up and maybe choose furniture and move things? Is that part of the services that could be available through you to actually,
Absolutely.
be manually, not you personally, but you and your team, be
Yeah.
manually and physically involved in the process of cleaning out the property?
Yeah. And help out. There's a whole we started getting into it because I saw when we would close the door and leave the house, there was an anxiety, there was a stress that was left there, and
Yes, that's what I'm asking.
yeah, and it's easy for me to say, well, this has to be. So the fact that I walk in exactly that with my team and just make sure that we do things very, with respect and with patience.
Yes,
It's people's stuff, right? And it's very hard
right.
to say like, oh, let's just get rid of it. So yeah, I can offer, I do offer that service of just sitting with the family and seeing we can go through stuff. And I also know somebody that helps me out once in a while. She goes through the paperwork. We never forget about all the paperwork that goes on in the filing cabinets and boxes and
Right, right.
somebody that will take care of all that type of stuff because it's overwhelming for an elderly person, right? And what paperwork because they
Absolutely.
kept everything for years and years. So yeah, there's definitely something to be done there.
That's amazing that you guys provide that. And it's not just for the elderly too, if I might add, is that sometimes the kids have their own busy lives, and this can be a great add-on service that
Exactly.
allows them to essentially continue to take care of what they need to take care
That's
of.
right.
And
That's right.
I'll be very frank about this as well. Oftentimes in these situations, the homes are paid off, and there's a little bit of a, let's say, a wiggle room for the family
Yes.
to be able to
Yes.
afford this extra
Yeah.
help, which takes that pressure off of them.
You're taking the pressure off and you're giving them the gift of time, right? And that they don't have to think about it.
Amazing, amazing. All right, so let me just move on to the fun part that I wanted to get to, and I'm sure you're gonna have some fun sharing some of these stories. So I've already pulled up the slide where we're gonna share some befores and afters. So we're getting close to the end of the conversation, but I know that people, as much as it's great the theory behind this, talk a little bit about some of these stories that of clients that you've successfully helped in the past here.
Yeah, so here, if we look at the top left-hand corner, this
Yeah.
was mom and dad had moved away out west, and the kids were selling the house.
Okay.
One of the, as you can see, that's the son's room.
Yeah, with the weights and all the other stuff there.
Yeah, yeah, that was his room. So walked in there and told him we're gonna have to pack it up, and we packed a lot of that stuff up and put it in the basement. And
Gotcha.
that was actually his bed, and everything else that you see is all accessories that I brought in. So we used his
Fantastic.
bed, and we he had already painted. They had already done the, as you can see in the beige.
Right.
So what I did is I tried to, again, wanted to make sure we saw how beautiful the floors were. So I just got the carpet, some accessories. So that was the top left corner. The top right corner, that was a house in NDG, and they were getting
Right.
ready to move. As you could see, the boxes.
Yeah, I can.
And again, there was no rental. That was, I went in there for, I think it was 2 visits, and I used all their items. I found items in their basement. I found that painting in, I think it was the daughter's closet, and I just shopped
Right.
around their house and used everything that they had.
Fantastic. It
The
looks amazing. It looks like you had encouraged them to paint as well. Is that
Yes,
true or is
yes, that was
yeah,
also, yeah, yeah, I had them paint.
amazing.
The bottom left-hand corner, that is, so she, this was July, yeah, it was Christmas in July. So she decided that she was gonna keep all her Christmas tree for Easter, and it was the family tree, and they would just have like
Right.
graduation tree, and like the tree has to go before you sell the house.
Of course. Yeah.
So
What
we
a
brought
huge difference.
in, those are all, it was her chair, and those are all accessories that I brought in. So used what
Right.
she had, but just accessorized.
Amazing. Amazing. So
The
simple.
the bottom is, this was an, I went in for the consultation and then I continued on with them. Everything you see, she went to HomeSense, would send me pictures, purchase it, and put it
Yeah.
up. So the seller ended up staging her own home with my help.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Probably took some of the stuff back after the home was sold too.
Absolutely. Eh?
Oh, that's too funny. Now, here's another group of pictures that the results are just spectacular.
Yeah. So the home on the top left corner. So that was a little tough. That was one of the stories where they did not. It was an elderly couple. They did not want to get rid of their sofa. As you could see, it was very comfortable, husband and wife sofa.
Yeah.
You could see a lot of the clutter. It was the first room we walked into, and I ended up speaking to the kids about it, and they understood too. We wanted to make sure we got the best offer. They were moving into a condo, so we rented that furniture, and
I see.
they moved everything. The kids had everything moved to a storage unit, and we ended up
Right.
staging it, and the house sold very quickly.
Yeah. It doesn't surprise me.
This here in the middle, that was out of town, and they weren't here. It's a condo. They
Right.
weren't here to sell their condo, so I worked with a broker, and
Right.
we brought in the items, worked with the items that they had, and also helped pack their stuff and send it to their final destination, another country. So this was
Yeah.
a project that I did with a broker.
Yeah. It doesn't even look like the same darn property.
Yeah.
Looks completely different. That was an amazing result. Beautiful.
Yeah. And this is where I'm showing empty. So you could see that this was a dining room that the family just decided that it was going to be a play area. It was filled with toys. And I just said it's such a beautiful room that looks right off, the pool and attached to the
Right.
kitchen. So we ended up finding a kitchen table, which she took with her on market. She found it on Marketplace with the
Amazing.
chairs. So, and then just brought in some accessories. This was a new build at the bottom, and the
Right.
house was not selling. It was not selling empty. The budget was tight, so we did the kitchen and the family room. So as soon as you walked in, so all these items are rented and also purchased. To show, and this was another situation where he's a home flipper, and the house stayed for about a month. Once the home was staged, he had two offers in I think two three two three days. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was quick.
Again,
Yeah,
absolutely, and especially,
yeah,
listen, during the periods of time or the markets where things are going to be a little bit slower, and we've been experiencing that to a certain degree
yes,
when the interest rates went up. You
that's
really
right.
do, and you've said it so many times, and I do believe it's the right term. You've got to put your best foot forward every single time, and you've got to. The
Can't
investment
can't
is so worthwhile.
Yeah, yeah. Because you don't want to tire. That's what I say all the time is exactly that. Putting your best foot forward because we want to go and get that home sold and get you onto your next home as quickly as possible.
And much like people, people make up their minds about the people they meet and the properties they visit within the first few moments of seeing,
That's
even
right.
if it's just the pictures online, much
That's right.
less walking into the environment where,
Right.
it's, let's say if it was left unstaged and not decluttered. I mean, the result is just not going to be there, right? And the
Exactly.
longer a property stays on the market, the more
Yes.
people tend to negotiate on the price.
That's
So we
right.
don't want
That's
to have that be the case. Excellent. So tell
no.
us a little bit about these last ones. We're getting close to the end, and this is the
Yeah.
fun part, though. It's cool to
Yeah.
see the
The
yeah,
before and after. So this one here, this home, they had me go in quite a few months beforehand. The
right,
son had a basketball net where you see where we had them paint, and I used their
right,
furniture. And again, that was shopping inside the house, and we just went to pick up artwork and made it into a new room. Got the
amazing,
piano out. So this was again working with what they had. The room, again, the yellow is very, with the decal. We weren't sure if it was going to be a kid's room or an office or a primary bedroom. So we also tried to make it as neutral as possible using their furniture.
right,
So that's that room. The one on the right was again that new build where the rooms were empty. So this was just filling up the room with a bed, a little nightstand, and artwork. So you don't really need a lot of stuff, but just showing the space.
right. Now, I'm going to mention to our listeners today that you do have another service, which I think is fantastic. It's a little add-on to what you already do, which is you can, if ever it's something that a client is interested in having, you can provide for them at a little extra cost a complete home visit report, which
Yes.
will not only point out the issues, but what needs to be done, right?
Exactly,
So,
exactly. And a lot of people like that because they'll hold that report and just go through it and weekend by weekend or month by month, and so I can
right.
give them a real detailed with pictures and suggestions of what they can replace it with. And so yeah, that's an
Yeah,
add-on
I
that's
think
been
this is a wonderful add-on service that you have available, especially for people who have a little bit more potentially of a
that's right.
long-term strategy
Yeah,
to clean up the place,
that's
and
right.
they want to be clear on what needs to be done. So that's great.
Great.
And also, when it comes to renting furniture, I mean, we've been talking that there could be some opportunities to really give the home that wow factor by adding furniture that they don't already have. This is an
Exactly.
example here on the screen of a typical family room rental costs, correct?
Right, that's right. So I just wanted to add some costs to see like how much. So using those chairs, a carpet. So that would be
Right,
the cost on a monthly basis. It's the
right,
first month, and then we add on 2, 3. We haven't gotten to that situation. Thank goodness, homes that are well staged and the
Yes.
broker has a good product on the market, has a great plan on, how much to sell the home for. We're usually looking at a month, 2 months maximum of renting
Agreed.
furniture.
Agreed. Yeah, I think that is even a little bit on the higher side of time frame. Usually within a month, when a
It
home
is.
is really well prepared, well staged, and we need
Yes,
to add to that conversation that the listing price is
hundred
just
percent.
is accurate,
That's right.
because not because you've
That's right.
staged your home and made it look beautiful means that we are now going to list it 100 or $200,000 over what the market
That's
might
right.
deem it could be
That's right.
selling for. So it's really
That's
a holistic plan for the
Yeah,
marketing
and a team
for
effort, and knowing again our result. We want the result to be to have this family happy and having their home sold at the best price, but also being realistic of what's needed.
agreed,
So yeah,
agreed.
this is just one of those situations where again I'm sending you as part of the proposal that you would get the actual pictures. When we're renting furniture, you're not choosing the furniture. I'm the one that goes and sees, with your home. So I'll just send you pictures of chairs. These still happen to have been available, and as you can see, the chairs were brought into that home.
Right.
But I'll give you an idea of what I'm planning to bring in.
Well, that's the benefit of working with a professional, right?
Right.
I have a pretty good eye after so many years in the field, but I don't necessarily want to be on the hook necessarily for picking and choosing
Right.
accessories and furniture. That's why someone who's been doing this for so long and has all the resources readily available is the right person. Much like if I needed to fix my car, I'm not gonna go teetering in there myself. That's just not my style. I take it to the mechanic, and I know that
That's
whatever is going to be
right.
done will be done the
That's
right way.
right.
Yeah. So we have another slide here that I think is great. This is how our audience can follow you and kind of see a little bit about what you're doing and in your day to day. Is that correct? This is where
Yeah, I
we
like
can.
using exactly social media to just give those ideas, or some of the lists that I find, or I find other influencers that inspire
Yes.
me, and I'll share that on my social media. I'll put a lot of before and afters. I'll be there for picture day and just show people. This year was one of the outdoors that I did. I was called like
Right.
that morning. They're like, we need to. They had their cars parked there, so we need to figure it out. So I like
Nice.
adding that stuff on social media, like real time
Nice.
things that are happening.
Yeah, it inspires people, right? And
Absolutely.
it gives them
Absolutely.
I think the reassurance that even though their
Exactly.
space might not look so inviting as it should today, this is what's possible, and now you're
Exactly.
giving them that feedback. I love it. I really do.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, when it comes down to it, like we were saying from the very beginning, this process or this opportunity to stage your home truly is an investment. It is, in my humble opinion, from day one since I've been a real estate broker. I mean, I remember one of the very first homes I went into, and we were getting ready for the photos, and I showed up, and I was new and green and had no idea what I was doing, and there was dishes in the sink, and there was clothing on the floor, and I took about an hour of my own time and did the dishes and
Grab
tidied
everything.
up the place. I mean, I'm not a bona fide home stager, but I understood that if we had taken the photos as is, we would be doing probably a huge disservice to the client. And
Absolutely.
while it's technically not my job, it is my job to take responsibility for the success of
Yeah.
our marketing plan. And I believe that one of the primary ingredients in our formula that works is home staging. So we're super excited, Lori, to have you on our team, that you're here to
Oh,
support our clients. I know sometimes it's not easy because you have a ton of other brokers who are vying for your attention, but I do want to go on record and let all of our clients know as well that whenever we've reached out to you, the turnaround time has been absolutely spot on and amazing. So we're grateful to you for making time. I mean, I know you've even done so sometimes on the weekends, which is not always
yeah.
as convenient for someone who also has a family and personal things that are priority as well. So we're super grateful for all of that you've done for us, and we are flat out excited to continue this
Well,
this
I am
collaboration. Yeah, with you.
perfect. Perfect. Well, I am too, Wilson. As I said from the beginning, I appreciate everything that your team. It's it's a teamwork, right? And
Right.
we're saying the same story, and we have the same motivation. And my heart is there. Exactly. You just mentioned the weekends. I know that they're thinking about it all week that they have to get their house put on the market. So if it's a Sunday night, I will come a Sunday night and help you feel better that next weekend we put your house on the market. So I'm
That's
open to
right.
all
That's
of
right.
that and understanding where people are coming from and where their stresses are coming from.
Well, this speaks a lot about who you are and how you're coming from contribution, which is one of the reasons I kind of, fell in love with you and with your style and your passion. We share that level of commitment to
Absolutely.
our clients, which is amazing. So thank you, thank you, thank you for being here
Thank
today.
you.
It was exactly as I expected it to be. It was outstanding. I think the information you shared was pertinent, relevant, and very useful for our clients. And I can't wait to get this into the hands of our clients who might be thinking of selling, and so that they can really truly appreciate and
Great.
understand how they can jump on the opportunity of staging their home and maximizing their opportunity. So thanks for taking the time again, Lori. Any
Thank
last words you'd like to share?
you know what? I just want people to not be scared of home staging, and the services are there, and just to remove some of that stress and some of that scary part of selling your house. The service is there, so don't be scared. We're there to help you, and we'll do our best to make sure your house sells quickly.
Lickety split. On that note, thank you everyone for
Thank
taking the
you.
time to listen
Thank
to
you,
our
Wilson.
our presentation. We hope the
Perfect.
content that Lori delivered is valuable to you and that you'll be able to utilize it and be able to come to a decision and make the decision to take advantage of the home staging opportunity so that we can, as a team, help you get the most for your property. So for now, thanks. See you next time when we do another one of these great capsule. Bye for now.
Wilson.